Going live. And I'm going to sort of sit here for just a second and wait for a couple of folks. Here we go. To start coming on. I know it's going to take a couple of seconds. So, first, I'll just say hello, everyone. I am so excited to be here as always. This is such a great topic. That going with talking about doing magical research. And so I said, I'm going to sit here for a minute. Let some other folks start jumping on and see. And let's see if you jump on, say hello. I just started, so I'm sort of waiting a minute or two for people to come on. And I have a great topic, so I'm really excited to talk about it. And I want to hear other folks what their comments on it. That's why I wanted to go live. And hello. Oh, hello, Charlie. Thank you. I was like your comments. Oh, and Terry, you always say smart things. And who else do I have? I have to look down. Richard, hello. I'm so happy to see you all. Like I said, I'm just sort of going to give the first 3-4 minutes here a chance for folks to see that I'm live. I really want to have a real Q&A. I want to hear what y'all have to say about this. And so let's hope some more people show up. I was going to say, Charlie, where are you from? The folks are leaning in. Where are you at? It takes just a second for comments to come through. I've learned that nothing works in real time. And seeing, because I'm trying to figure out the best times to go live. All right. You're in New York City. Oh my gosh, you bring back memories. I was Lower Manhattan. I lived on 36th and 2nd. Hello from Brazil and Florida. All right, so I'm never going to get all of us on the same time limit. But what I do want y'all to tell me is what is the best time for each of you, and sort of give me a chance to figure that, like you said, the best time that I can go live so that as many folks that would like to can lean in. I just don't think we just had the discussion on Florida, and somehow it's further south, but it ain't southern. I'm just not sure what happened down there. We were having a whole discussion on, how the different regions, the flavors, the magic evolved here in America, and Florida just seemed to get wiped out. It's something well worth looking into, as far as how things evolved. Y'all excuse me. Oh, Kayla, how are you? I'm so happy to see you. You're such a bright, shining witch. It is so good. Midday works for you. So about this time then. I mean, that's where I'm trying to sort of hone in on who's watching and what we can do so that I can actually talk with y'all. It is from Sweden. Yeah, I don't even know what time it is there. Danha is the J a J, or I don't know how to pronounce your name. Think the sun's fried some of their brains. Yeah, I think so too. I think that Florida was it was like a migration highway that everybody went through after the indigenous folks were wiped out. They just kept going through it. Nobody ever stuck roots there. It's 5 p.m. in Rio de Janeiro. Wow. I'm just so blown away with all of you folks. First of all, this is call you Donna. Okay. Thank you. That makes it easy for me. With just the global audience that I have. I just never expected it, y'all. And I'm like, I'm going to tear up and cry. But before I do that, let's switch over to something else much more bright and shiny. Today, we're going to talk about what's behind me, books, and how to do magical research. And I know many of you probably have just as many, if not more, books than I have. And some of you are looking to figure out what books are good versus what are the books that I have sitting in a corner over off camera that I'm like, this is the bad book list. All right. And how do we find good books? What makes one of these books up here worth having versus, like I said, the books that I have over in my bad book pile? All right. Books, first of all, are written for two reasons. All right. I'm a writer, so I know the answer to this question. We write to research something, or we write to convey an experience that we've had. All right. So every book behind me was either written as a research book where somebody went and researched the material. The goddess Hecate, I want to write a book about her. What am I going to do? I'm going to go read the Sumerian myths. I'm going to take those Sumerian myths to further research. I'm going to make a research paper. I've wrote a research book about her. All right. Second type of book is a book of experience. All right. And this is for example, but as a devotee of Hecate, I'm just using it as an example. I have spent 20 years working in her temple. I have spent 20 years in sacred space. I'm going to write a book about that experience I've had. All right. So I write out everything that I've learned, everything that I've experienced. Okay. So that is a firsthand experience book. What this person is doing, what they are actively involved in. All right. Versus what a research book is, with that person maybe sitting up in an office. All right. They don't know anybody in the community. They're not part of the magic community, but they're going to write everything that was ever written. They're going to put it all together, do research on it, and do a book on a particular deity. All right. And being aware that when you look at a book, you are looking at one of two things. So first, when you're doing your research, what are you looking for? Do you want to know all the technical details of the goddess Hecate as her mythologies evolved? Are you wanting to find those firsthand sources? So you are going to be looking for something more research orientated. We typically find those in university press. A university press is different than mainstream publishers. University press, okay? Oxford, this is a university press book, okay? Owen Davies is a very prominent academic scholar within the occult and witchcraft. He's actually a protege, for those of you who know Donald Hutton. They are deemed the top, but if you look, you will see it's printed by Oxford University. All right. He actually doesn't get a lot of money for this book. In fact, a lot of these guys don't get any money for writing these books. It's part of the requirement of being a department head. And then the university will publish this book. These books are typically more expensive, all right, than one of your mainstream publisher books that you can get for $14.95. All right. Ronald Hutton. I wish this is one of a really great book. This is an academic book. Again, this was a Macmillan book through a university press, Magic and Witchery in Modern West, celebrating the 20th anniversary of Triumph of the Moon. Great book. Academic means that slow reading, all right? And they get all up into the details. You need to take notes. Versus one of our, what I call, and I don't want to say anything that's going to be disrespecting on some of the other. I'm like, some of these, they're a little bit what I call cute. All right. And here we go. This is one of my, and I said, I ain't disrespecting because I actually think this is a nice little book. This is a cute book written by a cute young author, Inner Magic, A Guide to Witchcraft, put out by a popular press. And it's got pretty pictures in it. I really like some of her pictures. And she obviously has a lot of passion, okay? But she has no real experience, and she didn't write it from a research example. She was just sort of doing, look what I'm doing right now book. Pretty book. If you want inspiration, if you want to look at the pictures, it's not bad. I'm not going to say any. Well, yeah, I will say some books are bad. There are a couple of what I call really, really good bad books. All right. Here is another cute book. Good Magic. All right. I wish I could say anything else other than this is cute. Okay. This was Googled it, put it together. Again, some pretty pictures with some very redundant information. All right. This top bookshelf up here, to give you guys sort of if you look over to this side, it starts with the 3 books of occult philosophy by Cornelius Agrippa, which is the cornerstone of all Western esoteric magic, is this book. All right, I actually have 2 copies because my dog ate some of my pages. I'm not even joking, it's true. And then through here, I follow the beginning of magic, and it goes all the way across to where we ended up today with a book that's called Pagan Family Values. It shows the evolution of magic and witchcraft. Oh, you just picked up the 4th book, Natural Magic. Yeah, Agrippa, he's definitely worth reading for academics and those in which want to understand the quantum physics of magic. It's not needed, all right? It doesn't make you any smarter. It does give you some good words to use if you're at a witchy cocktail. I will say that. It is definitely good for conversations, but if you are a folklore witch, folk magic, that's where you see. For here, this is predominantly about America's American magic, how it evolved, all right? Coming out of that and coming all the way in, this whole bookshelf is all based within folklore, American folkloric witchcraft. Be aware of the fact, witches, when we are talking traditional witchcraft, this is American folk magic. This is British folk magic. All right, we both say traditional witchcraft, but if you talk to the British traditionalists, British folk witches, they're doing a little different than what the American folk witches are doing. Our influences are different, especially when we get into our American folk magics. We need to learn our African American history. We need to learn the Black folks, what was going on. As white Americans, we were only taught one part of a history. We have to go back. I have a lot of books on the American history through Black eyes. And one of the books and this is an amazing book. It's called The Black Book. This is clippings out of Black newspapers telling you the other side of the story, so to speak. All right. And Currently, the book's right behind me. I am working on another manuscript. I've signed a contract with my publisher. I have a second book coming out and I'm finishing it up. I can't tell the title, but what I can say, it's about cemeteries and crossroads. So when I'm doing my research on that, actually what I'm currently reading for the 5th time. All right, The Archaeology of American Cemeteries and Graveyards, grave markers. I'm doing about Magickal Cemetery. I'm going to academic sources. And then I'm going to supplement that with a really beautiful old book about a gentleman that took a trip through the cemeteries of the world and the stories he learned. And I've actually found so much magic in this book. It is unreal. Who knew? I did not realize all the stuff that was going on around the world. You find a lot of your magical research is in, let me get these guys back in, non-magical books. All right. Again, I'm doing research on cemeteries and graveyards. Guess what I'm reading? The Victorian Book of the Dead. I'm learning their customs and the practices so that I can put the information into context. Now, I'm going to stop for a half second, give y'all a chance to leave me some answers or questions. I prefer answers. And let me read what y'all said. Yes. Okay, thank you for my upcoming book. I'm very excited about that. Like I said, I can't tell you all the title yet, but you will know here in the next couple of months. All right, Granny Magic. Yes, actually, Granny Magic, Appalachian folk magic. You can find the book that I had out earlier, American Folk Art and Legend is the best on that. And then, of course, if you want to know more, I actually have those books are in the other room. There's more books in my house, y'all. Is the Foxfire Project. Are you familiar with the Foxfire Project, Charlie? There is a whole series, and it is all Appalachian magic. It is the most amazing books. Give me y'all give me 1 second. I gotta go get this book for Charlie. It's just right in the other room. All right, I'm probably the only person that during a live show just gets up and leaves the studio. Okay. Oh, Charlie, you have not heard of Foxfire. Oh, I'm excited. This is Foxfire 4. There's a whole series. I have every Foxfire book there ever was. All right. They are the Foxfire projects. Wait. In the 70s, a teacher in an Appalachian school asked his students to go home and have their family tell them stories about the family, write it down, bring it back. The stories were so amazing that they ended up with a book, the first book, the Foxfire Project. And it's full of Appalachian folklore, recipes, superstition, magic. It's got them all in there. In each of the subsequent books now, the two I was showing, they have, this one is Shoemaking, 100 Toys and Games, Gourd Banjos, Songbows, Wooden Locks, a water-powered sawmill, and other affairs of just plain living. This one's fiddle making, spring houses, horse trading, sassafras tea, berry buckets, gardening. The gardening section is so full of magic. And further affairs of plain living. All right. Um, I, I've had mine for years, but I assume that you can find these secondhand book. All right. Uh, let me stop and read Miss K. Off topic. Precious rose incense, good for workings. I'm not familiar with the precious rose blend. What's in it? As far as the name of the blend, they have all sorts of blended names. You want what they put in to make it a precious rose is what I guess I want to know. And if it's got good ingredients in it, and if you are questioning, should I use it? That means some part of your brain's doubting it. And you should probably want to maybe look at it a little differently. In other words, no, don't do it. If you have a doubt, don't do it. If you're not 100% on this, like, oh, this is the best thing ever, then don't do it. All right. Yes. Thank you, Voetta. Thank you. Yes, I did. I had to sort of straighten him up a little bit before I filmed. I was like, here, we're going to make it look like. But where was I at? We were on American. Oh, to the British folk magic. All right. And I know sometimes this gets y'all. Here's a really, really good example. The Crooked Path. It should say an introduction to British traditional witchcraft. And if you are interested in it, this is really a good book. All right, if you're interested in folk magic in general, understanding the difference between the American folk magic versus the British folk magic and why we're both consider ourselves traditionalist. Good book to read, but read it understanding what you're reading. All right, and let me get my books back. And there are some. I was going to say, what is it? The black. Oh, see, I don't have the Blackthorn book. I want her cocktail book. Okay, Christy has the Crooked Path. Understand, like I said, that is British folk magic. All right, British traditional witchcraft. And they evolved. Understand that the magic here in America was evolving right along the lines, okay? Their 1800s and what they were doing is a little different than our 1800s and what we were doing, how our magic evolved, all right? And they're definitely all worth reading. And then we're going through, I'm just going to go through my books with y'all. But yes, those are good. And then, of course, I have a thing down here is our Turn of the Wheel books. For some of the different sabbats and things that we have going on. And then I have these books down here all relate to the goddess. This is a really good book. For any of you Christian witches, Christian mysticisms, any of you that like Jesus on your altar and are trying to figure out how to put Jesus and the goddess on your altar at the same time, guess what? There were already folks doing it before you. All right. We have some really, really great examples, especially if we look into Ireland, of the blending of the pagan belief right alongside the early Catholicism. Magic Island. And yes, if you are American conjuring folk, our roots are long lost friend. We have been reading this book for a long time. This one's like out of the 1840s, 1850s, I think is where it started. And it's been updated and everything else. And this is where when we start looking at the roots of American magic, all right? And I actually still use this book. And do you want to know something really interesting? Was in like the turn of the century, people would buy a copy of the book when they were building a house just to put it in the walls of the book, in the walls of their house, because the book itself is deemed to be a protection talisman. All right. So we will find old copies of this in some houses periodically. And if you, and I was talking earlier about wanting to America's history. I always tell people Zora Neale Hurston. This woman is probably one of the top writers of the 21st century. She was a Black woman during the 1920s, and she writes the stories of what was going on in the Black community's interaction with the white community, all that. And these are so, she also has Their Eyes Were Watching God is another one of hers. All right. And talks a lot about the Black experience in America, you know. And for so many of us, depending on where you lived, you could have seriously lived 2 blocks away and had a completely different experience. And understanding that. All right. And then where I'm like going through the books. Oh, and this is if you are Gullah Geechee, wanting to know about the Gullah Geechee folk, the Doc Buzzards, Doc Bones, all the low country stories that we have. This is God, Doc Buzzard, and the Bolito Man. All right. And again, Cornelia Walker Bailey is the woman that wrote this. OMG. She is a for real writer. That's all. I'm just like, I wish I could write like she does. She is just amazing. But you notice now a lot of the books I'm talking about, they ain't magical. I didn't go get them up at the magic store. All right. The Foxfire. Yes. I said, that's like, there's America's Grimoire of Magic. It's hidden in plain sight. Just like the Psalms are, this most amazing magical grimoire hidden in plain sight. We're always wanting to look for the oldest stuff. And for a video on old is not authentic, right? And give me one. I'm going to take a sip here. All right, I'm going to stop for just a second. Richard, you read the Foxfire Projects. I was just telling Charlie because he had never heard of it before, and he lives in upstate South Carolina. And I was like, oh no, you're right there. Yeah, back in the 70s. Yes. I was actually introduced to it by my first high priestess. And understanding we didn't call herself a high priestess at the time. We're American folk witches, so we make no sense. But with her group, she had all of the Foxfire Projects and encouraged us to read them all and really understand the magic of our ancestors and things like that. And I'm just so appreciative of her, later as she did go spend some time with Laurie Cabot, and then she went to England to the Somerset Coven because she was looking for other folk witches and started formalizing her group and understanding that we had to evolve with the times. That's why at the House of Witchcraft, you will hear we do use the title High Priestess or High Priest, but as I was talking in another video, that's never a title we confer on anyone. I've never told anyone, ooh, you are now a high priest. That's not, that's for the folks around you to recognize, not a printout on a certificate. That's years and years. And then folks recognize your energy and they're just showing you respect for what you've done. All right, y'all, your turns to ask Taren a question. And sort of keep them nice, but let's get a question. I said, I know it takes a second. I love hearing more about how I got here, how I got to here. I did a video on how I got here, and that was a pretty edited. What is the best spell book? Richard! The best spell book is the one that you write yourself. You want to see the most powerful book that I've got? It's right behind me. All right. And if you look right down here, this book is my grimoire. This is the most powerful spell book on this bookshelf. What is the first witchy book I ever read? The first witchy book I ever read is this book right here. Witches by Erica Jong. I bought this book when I was 16 years old. And you can tell it, but dude, she's got the prettiest, y'all, the book itself is just pretty. Come on. All right. It's also got poetry. Oh, Terry, you have this one. This is, yeah, she's been with me 17. Yeah, we're not going to say how long she's been with me now that I've thought about it. It is just a pretty book. I had already started the I Like Witches Pointy Hats. I was at the bookstore, and I remember I used all of my allowance to buy this book. And went home and just poured. I mean, I just opened it up and looked at the pictures and dreamed of, you know, it all. The actual information in here is terrible. First of all, no, this is not a good. It's a pretty book. Academic knowledge wise, it's a terrible book. I would, but also understanding the information they had available for that time period. Because another book that's really fascinating that which one is she? Where is my? Oh, here we go. Here's a witchcraft book out of the 1950s. All right, that's where we can all find out that we're part of a pack of demons, and that it's also psychosomatic and all in our heads. All right. But this was what mainstream book publishers were putting out about witchcraft in the 1950s. That's when we had Gerald Gardner, who broke ground and wrote the book Witchcraft for Today, who took the subject actually serious. This is a keep the fear alive. All right. That witches make a pact with the devil. They take stuff out of the Inquisition and, you know, and say that that's real. And please understand everything coming out of the Inquisition. Those people were tortured. They were in active duress. They're going to tell you whatever you want to hear. Is it possible for a Wiccan not to be familiar with Hecate? I'm not Wiccan, so I don't know. You would have to go ask Wiccans about that. How do you keep magical thoughts alive when feeling emotional? How to do research through universities? What is your option on Crowley? If you don't mind me asking, I haven't read any things. Oh, Crowley. I have Crowley too. All right, let me start at the top of that list. All right. How do I keep magical thoughts alive when I'm feeling emotional? I typically go for a walk in nature. I like to get my feet in the ground. All right. And that really helps me. How to research through universities. Universities don't have an actual database that's open to the public, but what you can do when you're doing your research, use the word dissertation or use the word thesis. Witchcraft thesis. Early witchcraft in America thesis. Things like that, and it will start ticking you over to it. Most of the time, about page 4 on Google search is where you'll start seeing universities, or you can go to the individual university itself. If you know what university you're looking for, what department, and seeing what theses or what papers they have published. All right. Eclectic Journey is Crowley's writings. Crowley's a very fascinating man. Who cannot love him? Let's see. The Liber Null is. I have some Crowley stuff up here. Crowley was looking for power over the universe. That's basically where he went wrong. He didn't want to go with the flow. He wanted to command it. He wanted to command and compel. All right. And typically, people, energies, entities, deities don't like to be commanded and compelled. So bad on Crowley. He ended up dying. As far as how powerful was Crowley, I don't think he was powerful at all, because he died broke, alone, a heroin addict, living off of the goodwill of some of his former coven mates. So if you want to end up like Crowley, practice his magic. Because he went nowhere fast. He had this spark at the very beginning where I think he did to really open a door, so to speak. But then he wanted to put a lock on it, keep it, and say it was his. And the process of doing that, the guy went a little off on his command compelling, and, he was going to make the divine birth at one point, was one of his projects, and which went haywire, because it's really fascinating. Also understand that L. Ron Hubbard and that Aleister Crowley and what was the rocket scientist, the one that did the NASA propellant, Jack Parson, they all lived in the same house together in LA. They live like 40 miles down the road from where I live right now. All right. And so it was totally a twisted time period, and people not. Out of that house came L. Ron Hubbard, who developed Scientology. All right. Came Crowley, who, gave out the foundations for the left-hand path like nothing better. And then Jack Parsons, which is the reason why we went to the moon. I mean, tell me that isn't some fascinating stuff right there. But as far as his magical abilities, he was looking within high magic only, the Agrippa and all these books back here, the occult philosophy. He never looked into the low magic, the folk magic down here. And I think the folk magic is where the power is. I think these people up here are I hate to say, they're just, they don't get it all the way. You got to know how to talk to the spirit, not command the spirit, and that's why they're made out of horror stories, is what I think it is. Serenos, hello, how are you? Oh, it's just so wonderful to see all you people. Like I said, I almost got emotional a couple minutes earlier looking at seeing who all is here, because I want y'all to know, when I get up in the morning, I read the comments, I stir my coffee, I actually drink tea, but I stir and I sit and I read it. And when asking, how do I get my spiritual uplift to help when I'm feeling down, when I, a little beat up type thing, I get it from you guys. Honestly, reading your comments, knowing that you're leaning in, and that I've lived long enough to start passing on to the next generation, that next magical link that we have all been a part of for millennia now, And so I'm just so grateful for all of this. And that's when I start getting all teary-eyed. We're not going to do that, because I put on this weird mascara today, and I don't know if y'all can tell, but I don't like it. I just, for some reason, felt that I needed to tell everybody that. Oh, this is why I dig you. You're so real. Yes. Let me show you my smudgy mascara and keep it very real with it. I like what you said. Folk magic has longevity. Yeah, it does. And folk magic is not about writing it down. It is an oral tradition. And I do believe, to a degree, that a lot of it needs to stay oral. It's not the words that we're conveying to each other. It's the energy. It's the atmosphere. It's the pause between beats, things that can never be written down. And that is why it's so important if, get involved in the community in whatever way you want to be involved in the community. That's your choice. But uh, go out, go to the magic shop, introduce yourself, let them know that, hey, I'm looking if anything's going on. We're so lucky now because we have, we're all plugged into the matrix. And there are some really great, virtual programs. I mean, we have a virtual program here at the House of Witchcraft. We have 13 Moons to the Crossroads. You can go join that program. And every month we send things, we do things, we have a community forum, we do live chats. All right, that's $12.99 a month. All right, we don't have any hidden cost. If you want to do a one-on-one with me, you can schedule that. All right, but there are other programs. I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh, I'm it. No, I'm one of many. For us at the house, we identify as crossroads witches. So all paths to divinity are valid. All right. And just because you're not zinging with what I'm saying, you'll go find a group that you zing with. All right. They're out there. All right. I see y'all typing and I got to put my glasses back on. Intellectual witchery. I love that. We got to put that on a t-shirt, Donna. Intellectual witchery. That's brilliant. Brilliant. Y'all type just too fast. Let me get back up here. And let me give me 1 second. Oh, I wish I could say I was okay. New World Witchery. No, I don't have New World Witchery by Corey Thomas Hutchinson. I just found out it was around and mixed reviews, but I plan on reading it myself so I can make my own decision. I'm very interested in it. What is one of the craziest magical things that's happened to me? When we talk that type of magic, as far as to me, it's a very spiritual experience. And so my experiences are private. The House of Witchcraft Coven is awesome. Thank you, Saranos. And 13 Moons. Yes. We're going on over 400 pages. Wow. Huh. I plan on reading it. That's where I'm at. Like I said, I just found out about it. And unfortunately, the only books I'm reading are books about cemeteries and graveyards right now. And then once I get over the hump of this manuscript and I can pass it off to my publisher, then I'll go back to reading some of what I call fun books. Right now, the fun books, no, not so much. All right, come on. Everybody keeps ask a question and whatnot. And so this is a time you can ask anything. And I'm going to stop and take a drink while I'm a kombucha is what I'm drinking. All right. While we're waiting for that, let's see, where are we at? Ooh. All right. I want to remind everybody that I have a secret contest going on. It's a secret, so I can't tell you about it. But I can tell you, if you go watch my video on I'm a Southern Conjuring High Priestess Mama Witch video, that will tell you about the secret contest. And if you want to get in on it, you need to hurry up because it ends on September 15th. So we only have a couple more days of the secret. Okay, now, and questions. Most cherished book. Ooh, I'm gonna have to think about that, Biota. What do I think about shadow people and ghost? Just another plane of existence. Shadow people, though, sometimes that's a deep subject on shadow people aren't actually ever were people. They were always they are astral realm entities. Can I talk about righteous vengeance? Ooh, righteous vengeance, the right to defend, the right to protect, you know, like force equals like force. If you slap me, I can slap you back. But I cannot go get a car and run your entire family down. Okay, that would be out of balance. So when we talk about righteous vengeance, where is that equal? You have the right to equal energies. All right, that's it. Now, you also have the intellect, the wisdom to know when you should, if you should. All right? Because just sometimes because you can doesn't mean you should. And whenever we throw that type of magic, be aware there are going, it's like when you throw a pebble into a pool of water, all the ripples hit all the shores. You have no control over some of those shores. What am I saying? You're upset at your neighbor. He's a horrible individual. You curse him. He loses his job. All right. Now he can't buy his kids groceries. So now his kids are hungry because of what you did. All right. That is a pebble wave that we always have to be aware of. All right. We should always seek resolution or solutions before we do anything else. All right. And I know, I mean, I was raised Southern. If you ain't got nothing nice to say, keep your mouth shut. If you're not where you're wanted, leave. All right. You have the ability to just get up and walk away. And so always take those options first. Righteous vengeance at times, definitely, honey, y'all done heard me say it sometimes, and I'll say it again. Sometimes you got to slap a bitch. That's it. You just got to do it. All right. Ain't nothing going to do but to smack it hard and smack it as hard as you possibly can. All right. Because a lot of times when we get into our folk magic, we get into traditional witchcraft. The rule of 3 for us is if you mess with me, I am going to hit you back 3 times as hard so you never, ever mess with me again. All right? You will find many folk witches operate under that. Many conjuring folks operate under that. If you mess with them, they are going to unleash on you and not hold anything back on the basis that you will never do that again, will you? All right. Okay. The karma, and I've talked about the karma as the entirety of your life. It is not a particular individual situation. When we're dealing with the curses, dark magics, that is all on the practitioner. All right. If when I start swirling dark magic, yeah, I take precautions. I also make sure afterwards that I am off that stuff. All right. And take some serious cleansings, make sure that I am off of it. It is not stuck to me and it can go do whatever it needs to do. Okay. But when we talk about this, and it's really, understand conjuring at itself is not at all about curses. That's just like a byproduct. All right. The folk magic and conjuring, their goal is healing. That's what it was all about. Healing. All right. And you've heard it. You have to learn how to curse so you know how to heal, or know how to heal so you know how to curse. They go hand in hand because they're in balance. When you're in the crossroads, when you're in that liminal balance place, you always have both with you. It's up to you to decide which you choose. Ooh, I got a good rant on that one. Let me get my glasses on. Done missed everything. Meditation and willpower. Yeah. Sometimes just go stand out in your yard and cuss for 15 minutes will stop me from wanting to Okay, let's see. Concentrate, and my mind wanders. Your mind wanders. Physical representation. Because how do I deal with feeling stuck when doing research? Ha ha, funny, funny. Don't buy anything from Llewellyn. Yeah, those aren't research books. Okay. Meditation, reminding yourself, you just got to do it. Yeah, I agree with what Dub says, that you have to keep doing it. When you first went in the kitchen and you did your first from scratch biscuits, they didn't turn out that good. You had to do them again and again and again. All right. And by the time grandma had those absolutely perfect biscuits, honey, she'd been cooking for decades. All right. And I think the big thing with a lot of folks is if you can't do it right now, if I can't get it in 2-3 times, it ain't going to work right. You've sometimes got to knock for, weeks, months, and years. All right. And, just learning to sit quiet. I always tell people get a crystal, hold a crystal in your hand, a nice big hunk rock crystal. Oh, I have an amethyst right here. I have my amethyst. This is one of my favorite raw points. And this is actually for me when I'm meditating. I will typically I put it in my hand and I just sit and hold it. I also have raw crystals I do that with as well. All right, I keep having to take my up early tomorrow. Good night, Saranos. Good night, good night, good night. Yes. This is a beautiful natural crystal point amethyst. All right. I love them. Like, I have them everywhere. Terry says it's, yeah, y'all can see I just pulled up. I'm like, I could probably lean back and find more stones tucked everywhere. I do the same thing. I have them throughout. You open up my desk and you'll find crystals in my desk. All right. I just tuck them places. And I like to, when I'm, in my bathroom, I have a whole crystal grid thing I get into sometimes. And other times I just don't feel like I want to mess with the rocks. So I don't. It's not about doing it every time. Some of these different activities we're going to flip over because we just talked about, got to do it every time. We also have to remember we have to stay in the moment. All right. Right here, right now. What do I need to do? And what feels right to me, and really taking that deep breath and then just going and doing it. All right. I was going to stop thinking. It don't help. Y'all know that, right? That's not good for you. You need to just go out and do it. And then later on, all right, and everywhere, obsidian and tourmaline. I have a beautiful obsidian ball that I love during, use it for scrying. And I also like to sit it in the middle of my table and then put my cards around it. I have so much fun with obsidian. There's just something, obsidian is a very, very grounding, for me personally. And this is where, you'll read the different books on use the crystal for this. This means this. Yeah, that meant that for that person in the book. It don't mean it for you. Okay? This is very inspirational. All right? For me, obsidian was the deepest of grounding stones I can get my hands on. I just put it and I'm just like, I'm grounded. All right? But that may not affect the next witch who picks it up. They may pick it up being like, ooh, I'm vibing. Ooh, because that's how it affects them. All right. And so that's where you have got to spend time with a lot of this stuff. You have to spend time in the kitchen, witches. You got to spend time stirring your cauldrons, doing some workings. All right. And like I said, the most powerful spell book, my grimoire right here. And you can tell it's a good old grimoire because it's held together by duct tape, by the way. And it's got lots of loose papers, too. All right. This book has been with me since 1982. All right. And it has my original writings. It has some dates in it that I can look back on. I can see where I grew. Okay. And that's why it's so important for your journaling. The journaling is for you. All right. Because when you can go back to your book, pick it up and read and see, you can see your own growth, how you have changed, where the differences are. Because sometimes, especially for solitaires, you're like, have I learned anything new? You don't have that way to gauge yourself. All right. And you are learning so much and you're changing so much and you don't even realize it because it's happening very slowly day to day. That journal gives you a chance to see your own changes. Okay. So the most important book, is your book. All right. And the one that you keep notes in. And it doesn't have to be fancy. Those Pinterest book of shadows, I want y'all to know, I have never actually seen one of those in real life. All right. I have been to, I don't know how many different places, different magic circles. I have yet to see somebody pull out one of those books and do ritual. All right. I've seen people show up with and they'll be flying the page and they'll be like, oh, here it is. But those, I think they got inspired by that witchy TV show. I don't know. There was a witchy TV show, the one with the three sisters in the book. Does somebody know what the hell I'm talking about? Somebody has to, because I know I don't. But it was the witchy, and they had this really book. I think everybody was like, we're going to get a book just like that. And if I did have a book like that, I would not want to take it out to circle with me, to be honest with you. Charms. Thank you. That's it. Charmed. I didn't watch the show. So I don't know it. Yeah, actually, a 3-ring binder is a very smart thing to do, Donna. It's a great way to be able to add pages and move sections around. When you use the hard, like this one, you can't change your mind once you wrote it on the page. So over the years, this one has become just an absolute mess. Right now, if I write anything in it, I have to find an empty page. There is no rhyme or reason to it. It's on Netflix. Oh, Charmed is on. I probably won't watch it, to be honest with you. I'm like, yeah, no. I actually don't really watch a lot of TV like that. I don't actually watch a lot of TV in general, so it's pretty funny. Okay, yes. Oh, you hit the S by accident. It's okay. I would have believed you if you told me that it was Charms. I would have been walking around telling folks that, because that's how I don't know. A lot of that really doesn't. I'm just not interested in it. I'm not that witch and everything. All right, so we're gonna get back on, and other announcement. I have notes. Y'all know I always have notes. October 4th through the 13th, I will be in South Carolina at Nico World Botanica on October 9th, Saturday, October 9th. We are doing an open house and visiting. For those of you that are Southern, we go visiting. I don't know if y'all know how to visit. All right, go. But we're doing an open house visiting. And what that means is that I'll be up at Papa's shop. We're going to have some things going on up there and inviting everyone to come up for the day. All right. And so I will be doing an announcement about that so that everyone knows. And for those of you that are close to South Carolina, please come out on Saturday. I would love so much to be able to meet and greet and everything. And y'all are still talking about charm too now. There's a new charm. Wait. There's a new Charmed. Oh, okay. Good for them. I don't know what they do. I watched that too, the new one. You know, excited there. I just may have to go watch this show just to find out what y'all are talking about more so than anything else, and find out. I will have to at least check it out, sort of. About the SC thing. Oh, October 13th is your birthday. Isn't that too funny? Yes, I am going to be, it's in Florence, South Carolina. Florence is 50 miles from Myrtle Beach, straight inland, for any of you that are considering it. And it's at Nico World Botanica. That's Papa Nico's shop in Florence, and I'll be there. Love for you all to come and everything. I am hoping to be able to travel more as things open back up and get to some other places, No, don't do it. Don't watch the show is what you're saying. Don't watch that show, Miss Taren. I mean, I know it's right. It's fun. It's entertaining. It's not like I'm watching a historic documentary. I don't worry. I just really actually don't watch a lot of TV, and typically, I'm not really watching weekly show drama type things. I got out of that years ago, and so I'm not the TV person. I will watch YouTube though. I will watch YouTube, especially if it's like Trainwreck TV where you can watch like falls, the fall down thing. I will sit and watch people fall down for 20 minutes. All right, I don't know if that tells you what type of a witch I am or not, but I know I read most of the time in the evenings. Okay. Oh, I do know what Sabrina is. I do know that. My daughter watched that. That's a stupid show. So okay. Let's see. And yes, I live in Southern California. I'm currently in San Diego County. I actually live about an hour outside of the city of San Diego. I lived in South Carolina, and then my husband job, we ended up here for 6 years. We're leaving here and going back to South Carolina in a year, is our plan. I just came to visit California, and it's been great. I've got nothing bad to say other than it's too damn expensive. The people are just amazing. They're good folks. All right. Food's great. Weather's good. Other than expensive and wildfires, I'm like, no, I'm moving back to the land of hurricanes because I can watch a hurricane slowly come towards my house for 2 weeks. All right. Here where I live, I have to keep a bug out bag. All right. And we have to be able to leave our house in 7 minutes. And knowing that I may not come back to it. All right. Yeah, I live like wildfires burn. We've already had flames on the ridge 2 years ago. So I'm like, no, I'm moving back where the hurricanes are. All right. At least I can, we name it. We get to know it. We have a relationship with it. All right. We even have hurricane parties. Okay. You know, and then you can go through the whole process. Completely different. That makes sense to me. All right. And why am I going back? I'm going back because I'm a Southerner. Um, and I came out here because, like I said, we had opportunity, but I didn't. I liked where I lived. um, I my family's roots have been in the South since Virginia was a colony. It makes sense to me. My friends are there, my family is there, and I miss my graveyards. I miss some of my just the dirt I stand on. Not saying this ain't beautiful dirt because it is, but I know where I belong, and that's where I have. And I don't belong in Florida. I've been to Florida. No. uh, we're moving back into the Carolinas. Somewhere in that area is where we're moving back to. And then I plan on having a little glamping witchy campground place where all of you folks can come visit me. And my goal is in 2 years from now to be sitting there and have my glamping sites open. So I am very busy in the background with things in which I'm doing. As an old witch, I realized what I wanted, what made me happy, where true wealth was. And I'm happiest when I'm sitting in a circle of witches. And that's how I want to retire. That's how I want to spend my golden years, you know, is in a place where, we can all sit around the fire and tell each other stories. And so I'm busting my ass and working hard for that. And all of the things I do, everything for me goes into, the idea that I'm buying some acreage. I had 8 acres when I was in South Carolina low country. I'm currently looking for between 40 and 60 acres somewhere in the western tip of Georgia, North Carolina, and South Carolina. I'm going into the mountains just a tad. All right. I'm coming off of the Midlands. And to have a witchy glamp site is where I'm doing. All right. Let me read you a second. No, I'm not coming back. Oh, I want to go to Connecticut. I have not been to Connecticut. I want to go to Connecticut. I've had several people tell me that it is just absolutely breathtaking there. Jacksonville, Florida. Oh, that's the beach. I've been to Jacksonville, Florida. I like that. I live in Vegas. The most is. Ooh, I went to Las Vegas, I think, in 96. Right when the beginning of the strip. And it was really fun. But I like that there. W call me because I'm from the South. W, I so get it. They end up giving us some strange names in the South, don't they? That's for sure. But the winters are tough in the property taxes up north. Yeah, the property taxes out here. That's said, I like California. I just can't afford to live here, and everything. And I need to get back to where I can. And so we're hoping in about 2 years we'll be back over there on property with our glamping witchy campsite and inviting where folks can come and be with us. Alaska. Oh, that's another place I want to go. I'm like, I want to go to Alaska. I'll go to Alaska with you in the summertime. Yes. If you have not, for you witches out there, please travel. Please travel. And there's so many, you don't have to have lots of money. I've been a broke ass traveler for years. All right. I mean, I went to Ireland and stayed at local B&Bs that cost about £30 a night versus staying in an American hotel. You know, take the economy red-eye flight. They don't have those anymore. But really put travel into your budget. Go visit. We have so many amazing places in this country, in this world. All right. You know, that's where it's get into the community, get into the world, go stand under it for yourself. All right. You know, love my books, but they are only there to inspire us. All right. You know, it's here, witches. It is here where you got to do it at. And that's the big thing. Y'all talk. All right. I am not going to, oh, Salem. Yeah. I have no intention of going to Salem. I really don't want my picture taken with the statue of Samantha from Bewitched. And I'm not that impressed with the, why am I going to a Puritan village that already had kicked out the good folk beforehand, and then they turned on themselves, said terrible things to each other, got up in the witch craze. What in the hell does that have to do with anything with me? All right. And now, the past decade, they've made it into a witchy tourist destination. And the only word I have to say on that one is commercialism. They are corrupting everything. They are corrupting the Puritan roots of that village, and they are corrupting witchcraft. All right. I ain't going to rant no more, because at some point, somebody will be like, shh, Taren, be quiet. But I do not have, I think it's complete bullshit. It's made up. It has nothing to do with anything other than to figure out a witchy amusement park. It is like Disneyland for witches. If you want to go be part of it, yay. Go to Disneyland, but understand that you are going to Disneyland. All right. There is no magical roots there. All right. The actual Puritan village, because you have to understand that area, they kicked all the liberal people out. All right. And they were in a village about 12 miles down the road. The cool village was 12 miles down the road, the village we wanted to be in. All right. The Puritan village was the one that went batshit crazy on each other and decided that somebody in the village was a witch. All right. And so that, and for years they tried to hide it. And then through a course of the 1980s, a series of quirky events happened, and Salem got labeled a witch town, and they were like, dude, this is good for business. We are going to embrace this. It doesn't matter if witches never lived here. It doesn't matter if we have no history with it. We're going to embrace it. And we'll put a statue of Bewitched up to show how real we are. And it is 100% a tourist trap. All right. You know, and not to say that some real witches didn't move there to open stores. That, yes, they did, because, hey, you got to make a buck. All right. Oh, Terry, ooh, see, we got to get to, I'll sit here and rant. Oh, Terry, you're going to New Orleans. You know, I was in New Orleans 2 weeks, the first week of August, I was in New Orleans for the week. I do go to New Orleans every year. I go and give offerings up to the Congo Square and to the roots of American conjure. And to do that, we have to make sure that we always honor Black folk and the tomb of the unknown slave. All right. And understanding America's roots and the magic of America and how that funky gumbo all came about. Go to New Orleans. All right. And because you have to, it went from a French colony to a Spanish colony to a French colony to American. All right. You know, they didn't even know who they were for a while. And all of the different flavors, the immigration, the migration, all right, and the way that society operated was very unique in New Orleans, because as a French colony, they were operating under different rules. So they have a completely different flavor than when we talk about our other southern towns like Atlanta, well, not Atlanta, but Savannah and Charleston. Very different flavors in the towns. Yes, I just missed the hurricane. And if you want to know something else even freakier, Donna, when Katrina hit, I was in New Orleans 2 weeks before it hit. I was there. So I'm not sure what that means, but I typically go to New Orleans around the 1st of August, all right, is when, because that's like the low point in the town. It's like the most quiet, so to speak. And you're out of the Mardi Gras and you hadn't got into festival season yet. So I like that time. But it's just when Ida hit and they were saying it hit, when Katrina hit, I was like, damn, I was there 2 weeks before Katrina. I was there 2 weeks before Ida. So I'm not sure. I don't think I did anything, you know. But if you do, please, if you want to help, they have local reliefs. You can Google. I probably need to write that down because we gave to two of the churches. There is what I've done personally. And Helen, Georgia. I live in a little town called Helen, Georgia. Where is Helen, Georgia near, Charlie? Are you up near Delunga? Is that where you are? I'm not sure. Do I know a lot of Native American magic? No. First of all, Native American is a umbrella term like saying pagan. And it would depend on which tribe that we were talking about among the indigenous folks. And no, I do not have any firsthand knowledge or experience. I do have secondhand knowledge through the Free Cherokee Nation because we used to go camping on their property. They're nice people. I had a major deal with Moldavite dealings. I don't know. Oh, is it trending on YouTube? I don't know anything other than it's a nice, pretty, sparkly stone. It's not on my list. Oh, Richard, you were there 7 hours. Yeah, I'd have a feeling to leave too. All right. That was a typo. It's in White County, Georgia. I'm not familiar with that county at all, to be honest with you. I'm like, I don't know. We used to go camping in Delunga, Georgia, which is on the west side of Atlanta. And beautiful area there. I would buy property there in a heartbeat. That is too nice of it. And the dirt feels good. It really does. It feels good to me. And that's what's important, you know. All right, which is, we have been talking for an hour and 20 minutes. I can't believe I've sat here and chatted that long. Last thing. Any video ideas? What videos would you all like to see me make? All right. As far as subjects, topics, what do you want to hear me talk about? What do you want to know? All right. I'm always coming up with a list of video ideas, and then I sit there and I start thinking. Remember, I was talking about thinking? Well, I start, and then I'll be like, oh, I don't know if that's good or not, you know? Planetary magic. Ooh, I am not a star witch. Not would be my subject. I will go find a star witch and we can talk to her because I know several. You know, I have an app for that. You know, Terry, the cottage witches. Yeah, we're hoping we can get together and everything. But the cottage witches, and this was as much as they love all of the attention that they were getting and everything on YouTube, for a couple of them, this isn't what they're seeking out. They're far more private. And I respect that. But we do plan on here in the couple of weeks getting us together so that we can have a group chat. We're very lucky that we do have several witches who are out of the closet. I know you like watching us, and sometimes we're a comedy channel. It's a shame that I don't film some of the things we do. Ooh, scrying is so much fun. Okay. Let me write that down, Donna. Okay. I can do a video on scrying. I like to scry. Y'all know the best thing to scry with, don't you? Is your phone. Black surface. How the cottage witches found their path. Oh, wow. That's a good, maybe I could get each of them to how. That's brilliant. I'm writing these down, witches, so that way okay. All right. I'm going to go ask them because we get together and I think we get together in like a week and a half, and I will ask them and we'll see if we can't sit up asking them. The burping video. I don't know if I can get Dana to burp again. How to create privacy with roommates. Sweetie, all you got to do is get you some chicken feet and just hang them up around your door or your bedroom. All right? And that always seems to work really well. Let's see. Yes. And I will say when Dana burped and I knew we were recording, I just was like, I've got this. And I kept saying, you have to say into the camera that I have permission because I'm going to use this. And she was such a good sport. She's so freaking awesome. Do I know any shamans or any kind of native magic? I don't know if my dad passed away with Cherokee and Shawnee. Sweetie, you have to go to the reservation or you have to go to their community. Anything less than that is going to be a secondhand source. I really do wish I could say go talk to the actual, the shamans that I do know are not on the internet. I mean, that's like Papa Nico, one of my mentors is a Haitian voodoo priest. He thinks that the internet's evil. Okay. And then you don't, and he won't do any business. He won't do anything over the internet. And a lot of your conjuring and a lot of your native folks, your indigenous folks, that's how they feel about the internet. You got to go knock on their door. All right. They are not looking for new people or anything, and they're not up on the internet and things like that. So somebody's up on Facebook and it's like, I am shaman so and so. They're probably bullshitting you, and I would tell you, start doing research, find out, and you may have to drive. I tell the story that when I was a young witch, I mean, I got in my car and I drove 150 miles to read a book in a university library. All right. And yes, it was worth it. Because we didn't have access. We didn't have access to all these books behind me. All right. That wasn't what as a young witch, we didn't have this. We had to really find our information creatively. Oh, Richard, you are so welcome. Thank you so much as well and everything. Look forward to seeing you again. And then who do we have? Oh, Lord of Shells. You say the nicest little comment. Thank you. You always leave the nicest comments on the videos, Lord of Shells, and I just want to say thank you for that one real quick. All right, Miss Taren, well, you must. Have I had a scary experience with a spirit or like, no, honey, I am the scary experience. I would love to about oils that you make or use an apothecary tour. Ooh, okay. Let's see. I would love to see a video. Yes. Okay, so you want the herbs and oils. I can do herbs and oils. That's easy enough for me. I like my herbs. Right now, I'm having a problem because it's a little hot. I don't have air conditioning in my cottage. And so spending any time there is just, and I'm hoping it'll cool down here in the next couple of weeks and I can get up in there and get back to some magical herbs on fire where we get to make herbal incense. Yes, it is hard to travel to the other side of the country. I will say that. I'm learning from you. I am the scary experience. Yes, I am the scary experience. People are like, were you ever afraid? And I'm like, no, because I am what you're afraid of. I've never had that. First of all, if you are properly prepared and you have taken the time to fully understand what you're walking into, it should always be a positive experience. If you are having some negative experience, that means you are not properly prepared. That's what that means. All right. And if some little spirit folk decides that they're going to try and jump out and say boo, and you run from it, that means you ought not have been standing there in the first place, honey. All right. Something jumps out and says boo at me. Do you not think I don't grab a hold of its little self, shove it up into a jar and hold on to it for 15, 20 minutes and giggle about it before I let it go? How dare you do that to me? All right. When it comes to little dinky spirit folk, no, I do not worry about those things in my life. All right. That is part of learning to understand your own energy on the astral realm. Okay. Where when I pull myself up, on the astral realm, man, I'm like, no, I am scary and I like being scary. So you have to find your energy and believe it to the point. I don't know how you feel it. All right. You're properly prepared. When I go into a graveyard, and yeah, there are little dark shadows periodically. Sometimes I crouch down and like, come here. And I will give it an offering. Other times, like I said, I will on the astral prom just grab a hold of that thing and be like, shove it in a jar. Because you're annoying me. But as far as have I ever been afraid? No, I have never been afraid. I have been impressed. I will say where I've taken a step back and went like, damn, now that's good. All right. But was I afraid of my own personal space? Hell no, I wasn't afraid of my own personal space. All right, let me get my glasses on. Hello. How much did I miss? We have actually been talking quite a bit. We are the weirdos. Yes, that is actually how I feel. I am the weirdo. So I don't worry about other weirdos because I'm weirder than they are. Get a mini swamp cooler from Amazon. Yeah, I know. I talked about getting a swamp cooler and everything out there for it. Okay, just curious because you hear all the BS stories. Yes, they're like urban myths. All right. We do. We would have people come in the shop and they'd be like, we did a Ouija board and we went to the cemetery and now can't go back to our house and I can't go to sleep and things like that. And in those instances, I actually believe that it is psychosomatic. I think these people have watched so much horror movies or whatever their deal. And then they get this Ouija board going to a cemetery. And then at that point, it is just all self-fulfilling prophecy, they are creating it themselves because that is what they're expecting to happen. All right. They went into the cemetery to be afraid because they saw it happen in the movie. Spirit folk aren't out to scare people. That's not their, like, sit around the graveyard and jump at people. And when you get into entities, all right, again, these are energies that when you learn to work with them, they're a lot easier to get along with than people, as far as I'm concerned. I'm thinking I'd rather deal with a demon any day of the week than have to deal with a Karen, you know? I mean, because at least I can appease it, feed it, give it offerings, play music for it, maybe leave some breadcrumbs so that it, wanders off or something. All right, gotta get my glasses on. Sorry, witches. What's your opinion on spirit boards? For some folks, if you got the touch of a spirit board, that is a powerful tool. Not all of us have the touch of a spirit board. It does not resonate with me personally. So now but I have friends that, they are able to use that as a portal. It is a portal. If you are using a spirit board, please make sure that you close your portal afterwards. And other than that, typically you're fine. All right. Going to be wall art. Yeah, Ouija boards are good for wall art. I don't like spirit boards, Ouija boards on my own. Like I said, they are portals. So you have to take extra steps to work with them. And I don't get to filter. Whereas when I'm in my own space and people, I'm like, I always welcome all spirits and witches of old who bid me well are welcome here. All right. And I don't feel like I get that with spirit board stuff. But like I said, I don't vibe on them, but I know others who do. So it's really, if you're questioning it, go try it out and get your own opinion on it. Oh, yeah. It's like, again, the Ouija board is connected to horror flicks and what we've been raised on and what we think is supposed to happen. All right. I'd rather deal with, yes, I did say that. I'd rather deal with a demon than a Karen. Now that I reread it back, I'm like, sometimes I'm just like, blah, 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 blah. Yes, that is how I feel. I'm like, please, they're just, people are a little weird at points. Oh, she ought not be touching your hair. That's like a violation of personal space. I don't think that's cool at all. I don't think we should touch each other's hair. And it's really actually when I was in Hawaii, I had Japanese people coming up and wanting to, because red hair is lucky in Japan, and you can't do that to me. I'm so going to use that as a comeback. I was like, demons are so much easier to deal with, straight up. All right. As far as, dealing with a dark entity, you just deal with the nature of the beast is all you're doing, and they're quite easy to appease. They're a lot of fun. They like to party, I'm like, other than that detail about, burning down villages and possessing people, they're great friends, All right. I think I have talked myself out. I have been talking for an hour and a half, which is, at this rate, I really will fill my cords on a t-shirt. I don't think we could put that on a t-shirt, Fiona. And you're absolutely right. Dude, if you want to get rid of a demon, get a Karen. I don't think they would run from her too. I do believe it. They'd be like, no. It's how to scare a demon with a Karen. That is so funny. Now y'all got me tickled on it. I didn't even think about it. Like I said, I just when we talk about folks in general, I'm just some days I'm like, why do we have to even deal with people? All right. We ought to, yes. A banishment spell for demons involves getting one Karen. All right, is how that incantation starts. That's too funny. Where that's I'm sorry. There's sometimes though. I mean, I hear and see stuff, and I'm like, oh God, why are these stupid white women acting like that? And they make it hard for the rest of us. That is just all I've got on that one. I'm like, that's just sad. And I do believe it's a small majority. They're just very loud. I think the majority of folks are good people. All right. There's just a couple of really loud ones. All right. And with that said, I'm going to say goodbye to y'all. I'm going to remind you about the secret contest. Go watch that video and find out how you can take part in it and everything. And I will see all of you again. I am going to try to be going live a little more often. And just, oh, do I see you tonight? Okay. Do I? Yeah, I do. Oh, thanks for reminding me, Viota. I I like so forgot. All right, witches. Y'all go out there and you have you a bright, blessed day. Okay. And you know it never changes. It's always the same. First, I thank you so much to each and every one of you. And with that, I will end it with amen. Blessed be Ashe and Abobo. Bye, guys.